3 months ago I paid 1500 euros for this monitor, thinking that for that price it would be perfect and future-proof monitor for the next 5 years. But now it turns out that this monitor is far from perfect, and in some cases makes me want to get rid of it. I'll also tell you why I choose this particular model and share my experience of using it as a gamer, a developer and just a regular user. But since there are enough reviews on it already, I will not go into the technical specs of the monitor. In a short summary, here's what they say.
It's great. I love this thing.
So, what makes this monitor future-proof? Usually, monitor upgrades are closely related to your PC specs. Want to play at a higher resolution? Consider upgrading your GPU. Upgrading to a high refresh rate monitor? It might be worth upgrading the CPU as well. But this monitor offers a 4K panel with a 240Hz refresh rate. And there is simply no PC that can fully utilize it in modern games. And speaking of future-proof, take a look at my desk. It served me faithfully for the last 2 years, but I am bothered by a few things. Not enough space, second monitor is in a box, and a cable mess.
Did you just use that to cover the cables on the floor? You monster! You monster!
I spent a lot of time sitting here, and after complaining about my lower back, my doctor advised me to stretch more often while working. Around the same time, FlexiSpot contacted me and sent their standing desk E7 Pro, and it can solve those problems. To assemble it, you could use the help of a friend, because the desk is quite heavy. The frame is made of automotive grade steel and with thickened legs, and the tabletop is made of solid wood, and that makes it very sturdy and robust, so it can easily lift me up and certainly hold anything I want to put on it. As for the cables, I pretty much put everything in this section and attached it to the table. I think that result speaks for itself. When I build my next PC, I also want to attach it to the desk with this holder. I saved 2 height presets, so I can change the height of the table with the press of a button, and now I regularly work standing up during the day. I like it so far, and I think my lower back will thank me for it. If you also share my struggles or just want to replace your desk, now is the time to give it a try, because it's a Black Friday sales, a free 30 days return policy, and with my promo code you'll get a $50 off. Now, with an updated look, let's get back to the monitor. Okay, I cheated a little. I also replaced that box for the second monitor with this new monitor arm. This one. Right away I will specify that there are 2 similar models of this monitor. One of them has a letter P at the end, and that's the one I have. The price difference between them is 200 euros, and for that money we get a better charging via Type-C cable, the ability to connect an additional monitor using daisy chain, and DisplayPort 2.1. And so far, this seems to be the only monitor that supports full DisplayPort 2.1 with USB-R20 configuration. And only one GPU supports this version today, and that GPU is not made for gaming. Also, a few AMD GPUs use a simpler configuration of DisplayPort 2.1, while Nvidia is stuck at 1.4. I have an Nvidia GPU, but in the settings I found the 4K 240Hz without problems. It was achieved thanks to the image compression. In case you wanna know more about that and DisplayPort 2.1, this video covers it pretty well. I'm not going to talk much about the image quality. It is literally one of the best, if not the best QD OLED panel on the market today. And this is noticeable regardless of the task, whether it's gaming, watching videos or coding. I mostly work with text and code, and I've heard that this is a weakness of OLED panels compared to the usual IPS. But actually, I haven't noticed any difference. Of course, if you look closely, you can see a different pixel structure, but I would not worry about that. In games, it's a whole different level of immersion. The colors, the blacks, the smoothness, and HDR. On my previous IPS monitors, HDR was like a general brightness boost to me, so I never used it. But on this one, HDR makes sense. It's hard to show through the camera, but I think you get what I mean. So yeah, after buying this monitor, I used to play in it very often, which is not very typical for me lately. I had a great time, and I am already looking forward for the RTX 5090. Since I plan to use it for work most of the time, it was important to me to have Type-C with charging for the laptop, as well as a KVA module. It allows me to use my peripherals shared between my laptop and PC. So I connected all the USB devices directly to the monitor, and from the monitor one USB cable to the PC for data transferring, and a Type-C cable to a laptop. Now I can switch between image sources by pressing a single button. In the monitor description, you can see that the USB ports on the back are version 3.2. But this is optional and can be changed in the settings. And if you want to enable it, the refresh rate will be limited to 165 Hz. And I assume that it will be available only for Type-C connection. By connecting M1 MacBook Pro via Type-C, I can select 120 FPS max. But Windows device lets me select 240. I adore Apple at these moments. It's not like I needed 240 FPS for coding, but hey, I paid for that, and let me use it. I was also curious to try connecting monitor to monitor, in other words, using a daisy chain. The convenience of this option is that we can connect two monitors with just one cable, and when KVM is used, both monitors will change the image source. To do this, the setting must be enabled in the monitor itself. Remember I told you about bandwidth limit and image compression? Well, it's already at its peak limit, and to make the additional monitor work, you need to reduce the refresh rate on the main monitor. For example, after limiting it to 120 Hz, I was able to set the second 2K monitor to 165 Hz out of 240 available. But it works super slow and unstable. Take a look how fast it is. When using KVM, sometimes the settings are reset, like I'm connecting this monitor for the first time with resolution set to 720p. At the same time, it works more stable with the Windows device via Type-C. But what about the MacBooks? Historically, the M1 MacBook Pro can work only with one monitor through one cable. Because of that, when I come to the office and using the Thunderbolt docking station, I have duplicated image instead of detecting two monitors. If you want to work with two monitors, use two cables. I had a little hope that daisy chain could remove this limitation. But no miracle happened, and the second monitor is simply not detected. In the end, the daisy chain is available, but there is no point in using it because you have to reduce the refresh rate on your main monitor. And it's not compatible with every MacBook via Type-C. I would like to add that this monitor is quite large. After all, it's 32 inches. I remember the times where TVs were smaller and they were 2-3 meters away from the sofa. Now I'm sitting at a distance of half a meter from it. And of course, I don't always need all the space of the monitor. And if you're thinking that the monitor is turned off, it's not. I have a black background, Windows Start is automatically hidden, and all desktop icons removed. Since the most of the pixels are just off, this will help me to keep the screen from burning out. It will also reduce eye strain and distraction. Of course, at first when I just got this monitor, I squeezed everything out of it. I put the most colorful wallpaper and enjoyed the picture. But over time I got used to it and decided to take a more practical approach. On a MacBook in display settings, you can enable VRR from 48 to 120 FPS. And on my Windows it was turned on by default, which brings us to another problem. Have you heard about the flickering on the OLED monitors? I had no idea until I bought this monitor. It appears when the variable refresh rate is turned on, but only in dark scenes, no matter if it's an application or a game. After some suffering and googling, I had to disable VRR even though it's a very useful feature. And after disabling VRR, the problem disappeared. But not everywhere. I still managed to find moments when the monitor starts flickering. Remember I mentioned immersion in the game? Well, this moment ruins everything completely. And when I was about to return this monitor to the store as defective, I remembered that G-Sync was enabled in the NVIDIA control panel. And by disabling it, the problem finally went away. But I can't say I was happy at that moment, because I had to sacrifice a useful feature to make this monitor work properly. So, who is this monitor for? For me, it's hard to imagine someone buying a 4K 240Hz monitor just for work, which sounds roughly like an RTX 4090 for school. And at the same time, spending 1500 euros just for gaming doesn't really sound justified. I, on the other hand, plan to use it for work, for entertainment and video editing, and that's a lot of time close to the monitor. I've already helped my lower back with the FlexiSpot table, but I need to take care of my eyesight too, especially when I'm in my 30s. I have less and less time to play video games, and when I have it, I want to spend it in a great way. So I've been looking for a good 4K OLED monitor with all these specs for a while, and I think it will stay with me for a long time. And to fully utilize it in modern games, maybe even the theoretical RTX 5090 with the new generation of CPUs will not be enough. And still, I find it unreasonably expensive. Even though I've been pleased with it most of the time, I feel like I'm sort of a beta tester of the first generation of 4K 240Hz monitors right now. Surely by the time new hardware capable of running such monitors is released, monitors will be more affordable, more reliable and possibly with more advanced functionality. If I had discovered this flickering and other problems in the first 2 weeks, I would have taken it back without hesitation. And yesterday I went to the store and asked, will they take it back as defective monitor because of the flickering? And he said, most likely yes. But this is a well-known problem on the internet, and if I turn off VRR it works fine, so I'm not sure that they will accept it. Now I'm thinking a non-working VRR is a serious problem, but at the same time I got used to it. I finished my setup and I don't really want to give it back. So, based on everything I've said, what would you do? And guys, don't forget to check out FlexiSpot Black Friday sale, where you can find discounts up to 65%, and also you have a chance to win free orders during this period. And use my promo code to get extra $50 off on the E7 Pro standing desk. Don't miss your chance!